Alright. Hi there, everyone, whoever happens to be watching. Trooth here, and by popular demand, I've decided I'm going to do, or, attempt a sort of Dwarf Fortress Let's Play series. Well, over two people have recommended that I do a Dwarf Fortress Let's Play series. And so, on my channel, when two people suggest something, that's like 90% of my audience, so I figure I'd better give it some thought. So here I am, attempting a Dwarf Fortress Let's Play, something I don't really have a lot of experience with. The only time I really attempted to do a sort of solo Let's Play deal was with, like, Dark Souls 2 a year or two ago, and that turned out to be pretty boring, so I ended up hiding most of those videos on my channel. So they're really not worth watching, and so you probably won't be able to find those anymore. So I'm going to create a new world here, and while this is working away, I figure this is probably a good time to lay out sort of my mission statement with what I'm going to do with these videos. First of all, I should say that I don't intend to make these a tutorial. I'm not going to, detail every single thing that I'm doing in the game and teach new players how to play. I want to make this primarily, for entertainment purposes. And when I say entertainment purposes, I don't mean like turning this into like a comedy show, making a lot of wacky jokes, and putting forth a sort of YouTube persona when I do this. I just mean that, I want this to be something that's sort of accessible to Dwarf Fortress players of all varieties. Maybe even, people who have never played Dwarf Fortress in their life. I don't want to get too bogged down into details and, get really technical about it. Theoretically, I'll be, narrating and explaining what's going on to enough of an extent that people who have very little to no experience with the game can understand what's going on and get something out of the videos, even if they might not get as much as like a seasoned Dwarf Fortress player might. So I'm not going to be teaching the game in this series, but I might like to do that at some point. That does sound like a fun idea to me. I'm sure I'll be throwing in occasional gameplay tips and things like that, have a dwarven task manager to, like, assign jobs more easily, and, just little things like that, like little tips of how I play the game, and little conveniences that I've discovered over time. I'm sure I'll be tossing plenty of that in just naturally as the game goes on. But, a big part of the reason that I'm not doing a tutorial, like, first thing off the bat is I actually haven't played Dwarf Fortress seriously for, like, a couple of years or so. Like, this is the first major version I'm playing out of, like, the last two major versions. So we're on, like, 42.05 or something as I'm starting this video. I downloaded 40.01, but I don't think I ever really played it. So the last version that I really played was... So the last version that I really played was like 34.11. So it's been a pretty long time since I got into some serious Dwarf Fortressing. So I'm going to be learning a lot about the game as I play it myself. Expect me to be consulting the wiki pretty often as I'm playing this. Of course, I do that, ordinarily playing the game as well. It's kind of unavoidable when you're playing Dwarf Fortress. Nobody, plays this and just knows everything about what to do. So, generating the world here took a little less time than I expected, kind of thought I would be able to get through all of my introductory stuff before it got into like site selection and all of that. But so ideally I would be just streaming this game live like every week or something like that so that people could watch as the game develops. But I have kind of a irregular work schedule, so I don't really have any specific time every week that I could guarantee that I'd be able to sit down and play Dwarf Fortress for an hour or two or however long. So instead of that, what I plan to do is just play the game for about an hour, in every sitting, and I'll probably edit it down a little. I'll edit out the boring parts. Nobody wants to sit here and watch me fiddle with the trader menu for half an hour, deciding, what resources we need to buy from traders, and, what we can afford to part with, all of that business. So things like that will be edited out, or just, any footage that I think is turning out really boring, I'll probably take out in the editing process. But now normally when I post, gameplay videos on my channel, it'll be me and my friends, like, playing a game, not, playing with an audience in mind or anything. I just like to record when I'm playing games with friends, and I'll edit down, like, just what I consider, like, the funniest or bestest moments, and post those on YouTube. This one will be a little different. So, like, my normal gameplay videos, I'll have, like, 2 to 4 hours of gameplay footage, and I'll edit it down to, like, 5 or 10 minutes. Where with this one, my plan is to play for roughly an hour in each sitting, and then edit it down, just, like I said, taking out those boring parts. So these will most likely be longer videos, with, a lot more involved. Let's see. Anybody paying attention to my world selection here should probably be aware I'm totally checking out, like, these evil settlement regions. The only thing that's putting me off from picking one of these right off the bat is the aquifer, because everything else is, like, incredible about these sites. I'm all about getting into some haunted region. That's definitely going to be the most interesting kind of setting. So the ideal setting here would be somewhere that is evil, but is, like, on the border of the evil region, so no aquifer. And, in case there's evil weather, like I mentioned in one of my other dwarf videos, that will only, flow across part of the map and not the whole map, so I don't have to, leave the dwarves underground 100% of the time. That's the thing. See, if I settled in a region like this, I am full on in a haunted region, and so if there happens to be evil weather here, it's going to cover the entire outdoor map and be unavoidable for any outdoor dwarves that happen to get caught in it. And that would be really difficult to play. But I think I can probably get to, like, the border of this region. Because it looks like the aquifer is only in the very edge, or, it's only in the, like, haunted and evil and sinister regions themselves, but not in, like, the surrounding grasslands. I think this is going to be the site right here, because it's got a river, it's got haunted surroundings, it's got shallow metals and deep metals, no aquifer. Oh, but there's no fluxstone. You need fluxstone. So I need to keep looking around here a little. Anyway, I was talking about my editing process. Yeah, so I'm going to edit this series less heavily than whatever I'm normally playing, for a few reasons. like, it'd be good for people to see my building process and, like, the logic that goes into, uh, you know, my whole fortress development. And, you know, since, like, normally when I edit a video, I will have all of the gameplay footage recorded for, like, the entire length of time that me and my friends are going to be playing a particular game. And then, you know, once I have everything, then I'll edit it down. And, you know, that way, when things happen that are sort of, like, conducive to the continuity of the video, I know what to keep in and what to leave out. Like, you know, if something happens that's going to be, like, a good build-up for something funny that happens later, I know to leave in that build-up. But since I'm recording this sort of on the fly, piece by piece, I don't know what's going to be relevant later on, and what interesting things might happen down the road, so I have to edit a lot less generously, I guess. I have to leave a lot more of the process in. So that's about where things lie. So I'm gonna fiddle around with these sinister, evil, haunted regions, figure out a good place to settle, and I'll probably edit out all of this searching until I find something good for myself. Alright, I think I've come to a decision here. Basically, I'm gonna settle in a sinister environment. I don't remember what that means exactly. I mean, it probably means there's gonna be a lot of evil creatures wandering around, maybe like werewolves or something like that. I don't know if it means evil weather. It might, so I'm willing to take that risk, but there's a lot of important stuff here. I mean, like, there's clay, there's shallow and deep metals, there's fluxstone. Those are all really important things to have in your fort, all of this stuff right here. The aquifer is the only thing that puts me off. And for anybody who doesn't know, an aquifer in Dwarf Fortress, and I guess in the real world, is like a big underground sort of deposit of water. So in Dwarf Fortress that means it makes burrowing pretty difficult, because you will run into these just massive underground layers of water that can be hard to navigate. But I feel like I'm enough of a seasoned Dwarf Fortress player that that's something I can deal with. We will find out if I'm right. My dwarves might end up getting mauled by horrible undead monsters before that even becomes an issue, but I think this looks like a pretty good site. It should be pretty interesting. Let's see, I mean, there's not a whole lot of trees, but, you know, you can dig underground and find more trees in the underground caverns. Good amount of vegetation. Not too hot and not too cold, because those can both create problems for your dwarves. Especially if it's too cold, that can mean, like, freezing water in the winter. Other problems like that. We got a stream called Crab Intense, which I kind of love. The world, let's see, it's called the Cyclopean Land, and the continent we're on is the Land of Man. So maybe that means we're gonna have a lot of human neighbors. Maybe some human traders are gonna help us out in the course of this fort. I don't know. Yeah, see, it's even warning me about the aquifer. That's how serious it is in this game. Let's see now. We're gonna prepare for the journey carefully here. See, it's important to have a couple of miners on your team when you embark. Let's see, we need to have a woodcutter. Going to make a carpenter also. What else is important? A mason is important. And we need a couple of growers. Where is grower? Here we go. We got a grower. And let's make this one also a brewer. And I think that's all I really need to take care of. I mean, I could go into further detail and, you know, pick equipment to take along, like make sure we have picks and stuff like that, but I think if you take miners along, then they will have picks just automatically. So let's hope that that's the case. We need to come up with a name for the fort. The default here is Tongueboat. And I think that's just fine. The fort's going to be called Tongueboat. And the group of dwarves settling it, they're going to be the Windy Cloister. Those are both fine with me. I don't need to put too much thought into that, I don't think. Alright. We are gonna embark. I hope those 120 points remaining don't come back to bite me in the ass. I hope we're not just gonna wind up there with a totally empty cart, like no picks, no axe, no plump helmet spawn. You have arrived after a journey from the mountain homes into the forbidding wilderness beyond. Your harsh trek is finally ended. Your party of 7 is about to make an outpost for the glory of all Lumnumlogum. There are almost no supplies left, but with stout labor comes sustenance. Whether by bolt, plow, or hook, provide for your dwarves. You are expecting a supply caravan just before winter entombs you, but it is spring now, enough time to delve secure lodgings ere the dingoes get hungry. A new chapter of dwarven history begins here at this place. Nullcogan. Sounds a little like Hulk Hogan. Tongueboat. Strike the earth. Okay. So you'll notice, if you didn't notice by now, I am playing with ASCII graphics. But I am using a tile set, mostly just for the purpose of making the squares actual squares, and not rectangles that are, like twice as tall as they are wide. I always got irritated by that in the default Dwarf Fortress. So things look a little different from the last time I played. So let me see here. We've got these are trees. Oh my god. Okay, so trees are a lot different from the last time I played Dwarf Fortress. This is a good indication of how long it's been for me. The trees never encompassed multiple Z levels the last time I played. They were just single tiles on the overworld map. So let's see. Let's have a look at the surroundings here. It looks like... Okay, so here's the stream that we have, and it looks like there is a natural waterfall here. I think that's a waterfall. It looks like it. And that's really good to have for people who don't know. Waterfalls make your dwarves happy. They just like to see that majestic sight of nature. It makes them a little happier in their days, which makes them less likely to be crybabies, throwing tantrums, and just tearing the fort apart from the inside, which they will do if they're unhappy enough. Okay, so let me have a look at what is on the site here. Got a couple of horses, some alligators, sea lamprey, alligator snapping turtles, a kestrel, I think that's a bird. I don't know what an alligator snapping turtle is, though. Let's see, a large reptile with a thick ridged shell has been known to consume snakes and smaller turtles. Its bite can amputate fingers. She is very muscular and just gigantic overall. Her scales are dark green, her eyes black. Okay, so I guess that's just a huge, deadly turtle. I guess that's what that is. So that's something to watch out for here on this site. It looks like there's a good amount of trees here. I think we kind of scored with this one. That's going to be very helpful. So the first thing I always want to do with my dwarves is give them names. This is just really important. Mainly, part of it is just that, you like to name dwarves after your friends and stuff like that and see what kind of shenanigans they get into. But another part of it is just that once you get a lot of migrants coming in, it becomes really a lot easier to tell who the new ones are because they don't have names yet. So we've got a male dwarf here. Let's name him after my good friend Anthony, a fellow Dwarf Fortress player. Actually, I should hold off on that. I'm going to ask him what kind of dwarf he wants to be in my fort. Because that's something that me and my friends do, me and my Dwarf Fortress friends, of which there are not a whole lot, will, request to be a certain job in each other's forts, and, get updates on each other. But, this miner will just be my friend Jared, because he doesn't care about Dwarf Fortress a whole lot. Let's see here. This is another male dwarf. Actually, I'm gonna have a look at the the thoughts. Like, this whole screen, it looks a little more lengthy than when I last played the game. So I'm gonna read through some of this stuff here. Let's see. Dubious worshipper, citizen of the labyrinthine paints. And let's see here. So it's the year 125, that's when we started this one. Not the longest history. Let's see, description of his ears and beard and all that stuff. Okay, he is clumsy. Likes persimmon wine and cow's milk. He absolutely detests brown recluse spiders, don't we all? He likes giant rhinoceroses for their horns. Alright. He likes doors. That's alright. Like others in his culture, he holds crafts dwarfship to be of the highest ideals, celebrates talented artisans and their masterworks, has a great deal of respect for the law, greatly prizes loyalty, leaves family greatly. This is all new stuff to me. This is stuff that I have never read before. It never went into this much detail the last time I played Dwarf Fortress. Finds nature somewhat disturbing. Well, in this game, I can see why. He personally feels that introspection, all forms of self-examination, are the keys to a good life and worthy of respect, and sees war as a useful means to an end. He dreams of mastering a skill. Well, as a miner, I think that's going to be pretty likely. Miners get a lot of work to do. Overall, Kumil is untroubled by unmet needs. He is not distracted after being away from people. He is not distracted after being unoccupied. He is not distracted after doing nothing creative. He is not distracted after leading an unexciting life. He is not distracted after being unable to acquire something. He is not oh my god, nothing fucking distracts this dwarf. He is not distracted after being unable to practice the skill. He is not distracted after being unable to take it easy. What does distract him? That's what I want to know. God. I wonder how relevant a lot of that stuff is going to be. Let's see. This miner will be my good friend Connor. Jared and Connor are the miners in this fort. Let's see, okay, another male dwarf. Let's see, this one. I usually like to keep kind of a theme with my names. Usually, I'll take names from fiction, stuff that I like. So if you notice a theme with the names that I select, then you are on my cool list. Let's see here. This is a woodcutter. I'll name this one, let's see, this is a girl, so I'll name her after another real world friend of mine. Let's see, another female, her name's Valerie. Another female, okay, this one is Alia. Another male, okay, let's see. I actually keep a text document of, good dwarf names just because, sometimes I will literally sit here for, 10 minutes trying to think up a name for a dwarf that is, something cool that I like and that I have not used yet. So eventually I just said I need to keep a whole list of the good names for future reference. Alright, so everybody's named. We're gonna disassemble the wagon. That's always the first thing you gotta do in Dwarf Fortress. Okay, hold on. There is no music in this. I think it has to do with the tile set that I installed. I think it has music disabled by default. So I don't know how to turn that back on, but I'll try and figure that out for the next episode. Just have a little background sound, so it's not just me talking. Maybe I'll edit in the music when I go to edit this. Maybe I won't. We shall see. Anyway, let's designate some trees to be chopped down. That's always important. I always like to... Hold on. Okay, I was forgetting controls. I like to make a few quick and sloppy stockpiles right outside the fort first thing, just so that, you know, personally I can keep track of where everything is. Okay, so I got a furniture, food, let's make a wood one, stone, I guess, that'll probably be helpful. What else? Finished goods, there'll probably be need for that. Sheets is a new stockpile setting, I'm not too familiar with that. Anyways, let's just dig into this wall here. Let's see, this is going to be my main entryway to the fort, in all likelihood. And I'll just make a nice long hallway here. And now, okay, everybody's got something to do here. Get to work, dwarves. I got a new video card recently. Let's see how it handles the intensely demanding Dwarf Fortress. Nobody's digging. Nobody's chopping trees either. Why is that happening? Okay, somebody's cutting a tree down. Okay, they're digging. Whew. That's a relief. Okay, so hold on. I'm using an ASCII tile set, but this looks a little different. Okay, so these are willow logs. I guess the trees just collapsed. That's a barrel, okay. Things look a little different than I'm used to. Like, I wasn't able to find the original tile set that I used in the older versions, so I figured, new version, new tile set, see how it works. But I'm actually, like, a little thrown off at, like, at the appearance of some of these things. Like, I didn't recognize the wood right away, and didn't recognize the barrels right away. So, what we're doing right now is making, like, the pre-fort. This stuff will most likely, like, everything that I build right now is most likely going to be moved underground at a later point. This is just, like, so the dwarves can get their bearings and be settled somewhere. I'm trying to set up farmland here first thing. Okay, so put a couple of farms right here. That'll be good. And down here we'll just have a small bedroom. Let's see, I'm going to build a couple of workshops outside. We'll need a carpenter's shop, made out of willow logs. Oh my god, there is so much wood from these trees. Things have changed so much. I bet some wood is going to fall into the river. Yep, this dwarf right here, you just cut down a tree. And a bunch of, oh yeah, lots of wood has fallen into the river. That's what all of this is. All of these logs have fallen into the water and will most likely never be recovered. Oops. Okay, oh yeah, and here's the waterfall in action over here. It's actually kind of like flooding the land around it a bit there. But yeah, that's cool. It's cool. Dwarves are gonna like that. Okay. Alright, so the digging is coming along, I guess. Here's what I need to do. I need to set the miners to do nothing but mine. It's always a problem when they go around picking up items and putting them in stockpiles. How do I do this? Labor. Okay, yes. No hauling. Connor. And who's this over here? That's my mason. Yeah, Jared, stop hauling logs and just go do your job and dig. Okay, see, the carpenter just built his workshop right here. So I'm going to have him make a lot of beds. Yes. Alright. Gonna make a good 10 beds there. We've only got 7 dwarves right now. But we'll need the extra beds before too long, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of migrants will want to come to this fort. Assuming it doesn't get annihilated by evil creatures. Speaking of which, I wonder if any more have shown up. Okay, there's ravens, alligators, and the snapping turtles are still there. So the ravens are new, but that shouldn't be a big deal. It should not matter that we have ravens. Overall, this site doesn't seem that evil right now, and that kind of makes me wary. I'm afraid that, like, you know, blistering fog is going to come billowing in and just melt all of my dwarves first thing. But hopefully there's none of that. Alright, so they have carved out the farms here. And the bedrooms. So we're going to put them right here. Farm number 1. And farm number 2. And here is the bedroom. We don't have a full bedroom yet, but that's okay. Let's get the miners back to work here. I'm gonna dig a little farther into the fort here. And we're gonna start going underground, because that's where the real action is. Let's have them start out going about 25 layers down. And I'll need to set a hotkey here. How do I do that? Here we go. Okay. I want this to be my F2. That's going to be my first underground layer. Okay, the farmers are building the farms. So far, so good. There's so much wood from those trees. Whoa, what's going on over here? What is this? Hazel tree branches, hazel leaves, hazel pollen. What? I don't know what this is. I guess these trees produce pollen. I guess that's why they're all fluffy and yellow. I was worried for a second. I thought maybe we had some evil trees on the site. I don't know what to expect from these new trees. Wait, what's he doing? Oh, that's Taylor. What's she up to? Oh, okay, she's got like a wheelbarrow, right? I think she does. I think that's what that is. Yes, okay. That's something that's kind of new to me too, is like dwarves using wheelbarrows. Because in the versions that I played the most, they just carried all the stones by hand. But I think in newer versions, stones are a lot heavier. So they need like carts to carry them around. I'm gonna have the carpenter make a couple of doors here. That always throws me off in playing a new version, because like stones drop a lot less often than they used to. We struck some clear zircon. as you can see down here. That probably doesn't mean anything. It's a gemstone. I was so excited the first time I played Dwarf Fortress, and I was striking all these jewels. I was like, oh man, they must be like so useful and valuable to the game, when really they're just, you know, good for trading sometimes. I'll tell you one thing I want to do. Let's get our friend Valerie here. Let's see. Oh, she's the expedition leader. What do you know? We are going to... She's a novice poet. What? Singer, musician, keyboardist. These are new things for me. Wow. Instrument. Ubet. Sland. What is it? Slana? Ungarak. She can play the Ungarak. Okay. Poetry. The blossom of embracing. The... Whoa, what are these things? I guess these are poems that she knows how to recite, and songs that she knows how to sing? I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to look into when I'm done with the game here. Anyway, I got here to make her an architect. That's usually good for a mason to be. So we want to build a bridge here. Here we go. Gotta make a bridge here so that, you know, when traders show up, they have a way to get to the fort. Let's put the bridge over here. Let's put it like right over the waterfall. Because for one thing, this will give us more like warning time if invaders try to come over the bridge, and you know, seeing the waterfall will make everyone happier. Alright. So it's going to be right here. That's going to take a lot of stones, but I think it'll be okay. Or I could make it out of wood, since there's just, oh my god, there's just an ocean of wood here. You see right here, like dozens of logs from all these trees. Yeah, let's just make it out of all of the... Okay. We're going to have a nice oak wooden bridge overlooking this beautiful waterfall. Already, this fort has some gorgeous design to it. Ooh, we struck Galena. Oh, and Brimstone. Whoa, what is Brimstone? I'm not sure if that's a new thing or not. But Galena, that's good. I might be mispronouncing that, but it is a good thing to have in your fort, because that is silver ore, which is used, well, for me it's used to make a lot of maces and hammers, because silver is really heavy, and it makes for good blunt weapons. You can't use it to make armor or anything like that, as far as I know. And it's raining. That's some pretty normal weather. So it is raining. It's not raining like acid or blood or anything, so I guess that's a good sign. Let's put a couple of doors on these rooms here. Oh, now that the farms are done, I need to tell them to grow plump helmets here. Let's see, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Year-round, they need to be growing plump helmets here. Again, for the uninitiated, plump helmets are a species of mushroom, and they're the #1 staple of any dwarven diet. They are the easiest thing to grow, and like hands down the most reliable food source. Ooh, we struck tetrahedrite, which is either copper or iron ore. I don't remember. Oh, silver and copper. Okay. So that's good news. Copper can be used for weapons and armor. I'd prefer to find an iron ore, but if one does not exist, then that will not be the end of the world. You can make do with copper. And maybe we'll be able to make bronze. We'll see. Alright, so we got a nice bridge there. Very good. This is a really sloppy waterfall, though. Like, over here, there's just tons of water spilling out onto the land. But I guess that's fine. Nobody said waterfalls have to be neat. Okay, let's make this a bedroom. It's gonna be a community bedroom. So anybody can claim those. Cobaltite. Now, is that an iron ore? Actually, no, I remember now. Cobaltite. Even though it has that little pound icon, like most of the metal ores, it's actually not a metal. It's just a blue rock. And you know, blue rocks are kind of cool. There's not a lot of blue rocks, I guess. But they're not extremely useful. Oh hey, this is the bottom layer now. So let's have them dig into this cobaltite. So you gotta decide how I want to lay out the workshops here. I think what I might do, I might just do something like this. How about making this symmetrical? Okay, we'll put workshops down here. I think that's a good idea. And maybe we'll strike some good metals too. I've heard that in these newer versions it's possible to tell dwarves to dig out an entire vein of a certain mineral, which would be extremely useful. Because in the past you had to like go into the digging designation mode and click on every single instance of the mineral you wanted. Or, you know, just tell them to dig out a huge square. Oh my god, okay. A cloud of devilish dust has drifted nearby. I had a feeling we were gonna get evil weather, and there it is. There's the devilish dust. Okay. Okay. I think it's just floating in, like, the bottom right corner of the fort. Oh, hold on. Why are the trees turning purple right now? Why is that happening? Oh, okay. Damn it. Those are just peaches. Those are peaches. Alright. Now, it says down here the weather has cleared, but to me that still looks like a lot of devilish dust. Alright. That's a persimmon tree. That's nice. Fruit trees are a new thing to me. I bet there's a way to, like, harvest that fruit. I don't know. Okay, so here's the entrance to the fort, way down here. Hopefully we are safe from that devilish dust. What is this? What is this? Are these peaches falling to the ground? Alfalfa. Okay. This is a radish. This is spinach. Wow. There's a lot of food just growing on the ground. That's nice. So where is that devilish dust is still up here. It looks like it's drifting nowhere near the fort though, so bullet dodged, I think. Bullet dodged. What is this thing floating around over here? Oh, dragonfly. Okay. That's neat. Huh. Okay. So anyway, let's check on the workshops down here. Well, what will be the workshops? Let's go ahead and build a workshop right down here. We're gonna have a mason shop. Could be made out of cobaltite. Very stylish. Very chic. I always worry that I'm like forgetting something kind of critical when I first start out a fort. Like, okay, well, one thing's for sure. Let's build a few tables here and some thrones in the mason's workshop, because we're gonna need a dining room pretty soon. I think that'll be the next project here. So let's see. We will go like 5 more layers down from workshops. And this is going to become the dining hall, I think. Tetrahedrite. Okay, we've run into that before. Delina, alright. That's also good. What's my mason dwarf doing? Okay, she's making the tables. Here's something they need to do though. Well, they can wait. I was gonna say we need stockpiles next to this future workshop room, but that can wait. I think the dining hall is more important for the moment. We struck Realgar. What's Realgar? What is that? What is it? Zoom. Realgar. I don't know. Maybe it's a gemstone. Your guess is as good as mine. It's kind of the beauty of this game. You know, you can play it for years and still encounter, like, never before seen minerals. Alright. Gonna dig out a big old dining hall. The dwarves just love that shit. What are the miners doing? They're sleeping. Okay. They're not in beds. Okay, there's Jared sleeping on the stairs. Okay. There's Connor sleeping on the stairs. Well, that happens to miners a lot, you know. They get caught up in their work and they just fall asleep wherever they lie. I just love watching them zip around with those little hand carts. It makes me happy. Ooh, we struck gold. That's good news. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in my other videos, but I once had a fort where basically the dwarves could not stub their toes on the cave wall without striking gold. And that was a pretty entertaining fort. Because, I mean, there weren't a lot of useful metals in that fort, but there was gold. There was so much gold, we were eventually just making everything out of gold. Like, I'm talking golden dining room tables, golden doors, golden chairs. Everything that could be made of gold was made of gold, just for the gimmick of it. Now, apparently, making high-value items at your fort attracts goblins, and I don't know, that didn't seem to be an especially big issue in that fort. Didn't seem like there were more goblins than usual. But I don't know, maybe it would have happened if I had played on that fort for a lot longer. Okay, now here's Taylor carrying the stone without the wheelbarrow. I don't know why she's doing that. Can we build more wheelbarrows? I should imagine that that's possible. They don't have a hotkey. Of course, what is this? Make instrument pieces which can be used to assemble complete musical instruments. That's weird that there's suddenly a tooltip for this one thing in the game. Why am I being told how to make instruments when, like, literally nothing else in the history of Dwarf Fortress is explained in the game? Whatever. Now I know that, I guess. I have a few more wheelbarrows. Everybody could use a wheelbarrow, and we have shitloads of wood. So are these beds being claimed? Oh, okay, you have to actually make it a bedroom for, like, every bed in order for somebody to claim them, I guess. That's another thing, like, I used to assign beds to every single dwarf, but now I just let them pick their own. I give them that freedom. I think they have that right. Oh, okay. Valerie has made a masterpiece throne. Good for her. And she is only a proficient mason. You know, it kind of occurs to me that, you know, the way I play the game, like particularly the way I start out the game, is this, like, long, outdated product of how I learned to play the game when I first started it up. Now, the first version I ever played, it was, like, 40D13. This was in a day when, you know, the version numbers had a completely different numbering scheme than they have now. Because we're back to 40 again, but it's like a different version 40. So I don't know. But in the version I played, you know, there weren't huge underground caverns. It wasn't even guaranteed that you would run into magma if you dug as deep as possible, which I didn't on my first fort. There was no magma. It was a 3D version. I never played in the days of the 2D versions. What is going on here? Okay, those are horses. They were just zipping around really fast for a second there. But yeah, I never played a 2D version. And, you know, it's kind of interesting, like, you know, the most famous Dwarf Fortress story, I think, is Boat Murdered. And that was from a super old 2D version of the game. So a lot of people are reading, you know, that story, and they're seeing, like, a lot of stuff that is totally not even true of the game anymore. Like, including the fact that it was only in 2 dimensions. And that's kind of baffling to me, that this game made the leap from 2 dimensions to 3, and it's, like, still the same game. It's amazing that that kind of development can even be made on it. Alright, this is gonna be a huge stockpile room over here. That's the next job. It is now summer. Okay. Oh shit. That's another cloud of devilish dust. This time it's in the top left of the fort. And a thief. That would be the kobold right there. That's what that is. Right? Yeah. That's fine. Kobold thieves are pretty harmless. It's pretty rare that they're able to steal anything from your fort, and as soon as a dwarf spots them, they just run away immediately. It's really rare that they can be any kind of a threat to anything. So we got some schist here. Alright, some brown rocks. Oh, I should probably keep a lookout for that devilish dust. I hope it's not gonna float over the fort. I kind of lost it. I don't know where it went. It might be gone. Yeah, I'm not seeing any more devilish dust around here. So I think we're okay. I think we're gonna be okay. I'm a little scared of the devilish dust, but, you know, look at all these dwarves with no job. What can I have them do? Well, for one thing, I need to have the miners dig out a little food stockpile over here. Carpenter, let's see, you can make some barrels. There's always a need for barrels. Look at that, that little stone stockpile is totally full now. Oh, here's a job that all the dwarves can have. Oh, actually, hold on. We need a door. And then all the dwarves can get busy building up this dining room. Alright, put a table right here in the center. A cobaltite table will be the dead center of the dining room. Gonna make another table. Well, the weather has cleared. I wonder if that means the evil weather. Alright, let's fill this dining room up with some chairs. And we'll make it a meeting hall. Why not? I forget what that means. I think that just means that the leader of the dwarves will go meet with caravan traders in a meeting hall. If they are not, you know, a leader who has their own bedroom and office and all of that. Alright, well, we're getting about to the end of the first hour of me playing this game. So, I'm gonna cut it off here. I'll have this on YouTube pretty soon. Or, you know, I guess if anybody's watching this, it's already there. And we'll see how things go. We'll feel it out from here. I'll use this as a sort of litmus test to decide how much editing and shit like that my videos need. And next time, next time I'll be sure to build a brewery. I'll be sure to build a still, because I realize that's something that I've overlooked. And I'll try and see you next week.